The blackness of space around Earth burned with streaks of fire. Explosions flashed like dying stars, and wreckage drifted silently in the void. The invasion had begun 3 days ago, and humanity's survival now hung by a thread. Captain Elias. Ward stood on the bridge of the Valor's Edge, the largest and most advanced human warship ever built. Even with its cutting-edge weapons, he knew it wasn't enough. The enemy had come in numbers beyond imagination. An alien empire known as the Vor Dominion, a ruthless force that had conquered countless worlds. All forward batteries, focus, fire on their lead destroyer. Elias barked, his voice sharp and commanding. "Aye, Captain," replied Lieutenant Kara Voss, his tactical officer. Her hands flew over the controls, sending targeting data to the ship's cannons. Through the main view screen, Elias watched as blue beams lanced from the Valor's Edge, striking the Vor destroyer. The alien vessel shuddered, flames bursting from its hull, but it kept coming. Behind it, dozens more Vor ships advanced in perfect formation, their dark, jagged silhouettes lit by the glow of burning human stations and defense platforms. The solar system was now a battlefield. Mars had fallen on the first day. The lunar defense bases were gone by the second. Now only Earth and a handful of scattered fleets remained. "Status report," Elias demanded. 70% of our fleet is gone, Kara said grimly. The 7th and 9th fleets have been completely destroyed. Reinforcements from Jupiter Station are not responding. Elias clenched his fists. He didn't need to ask why there was no response. The Vor didn't leave survivors. Earth's leaders had underestimated the threat. They had believed humanity's rapid technological progress over the past 2 centuries would protect them. But the Vor weren't just another alien species. They were ancient, united, and utterly merciless. A communications officer turned to Elias, fear clear in his voice. "Sir, incoming transmission from General Reeves on the surface. It's urgent." "Put him through." The grizzled face of General Reeves, head of Earth's planetary defense, appeared on the screen. Explosions thundered in the background of his image, and soldiers rushed past. "Ward," Reeves growled, "the Vor are cutting through our orbital defense grid. If they break through completely, they'll glass the planet." "I know, General," Elias said tightly. "We're holding as best we can, but we're outnumbered 20-1 unless we get reinforcements." "There are no reinforcements," Reeves snapped. "You are the reinforcements. Buy us time, Captain, whatever it takes." The transmission cut off abruptly, replaced by static. Elias stood frozen for a moment, feeling the crushing weight of responsibility. If the Vor reached Earth, billions would die. "Sir," Kara said quietly, "we can't win this battle." "I know," Elias replied, his voice low. "But we can't run either. Not while there's still a chance to save them." The bridge fell silent except for the hum of engines and the distant rumble of weapons fire. Then, the sensors officer gasped. "Captain, new contact detected at the edge of the system." Elias turned sharply. "Another Vor fleet?" The officer shook his head, his face pale. "No, this is different. I don't recognize the signature. It just appeared out of nowhere. It's cloaked." Kara frowned. "Cloaked? Are you saying it was invisible to our sensors until now?" "Yes, ma'am, it's massive. Larger than any ship we've ever seen. And it's just sitting there." On the main screen, a faint distortion shimmered against the stars, like ripples on water. It wasn't Vor technology, nor anything human-built. It was something entirely new. The Vor noticed it too. Several enemy ships broke formation and began moving cautiously toward the distortion. Elias's heart pounded. "Open a wideband hail. Identify us as the United Earth Fleet. Let them know we're not hostile." The communications officer worked quickly, sending out the signal. No reply came. The distortion remained still, silent and mysterious. Then, without warning, it flared with light, revealing the outline of a ship so immense it dwarfed every vessel on the battlefield. Its hull was dark and angular, etched with glowing symbols that pulsed like a heartbeat. Gasps filled the bridge. My God, Kara whispered. It's like a city floating in space. Captain, the sensors officer said, his voice shaking. Its power readings are impossible. I've never seen anything like it. Before anyone could speak again, the Vor opened fire. Streams of crimson plasma and energy beams tore through, the void converging on the mysterious ship. The unknown vessel didn't move. The weapons struck its hull and simply vanished, absorbed into glowing barriers that shimmered like liquid light. Elias stared in awe. It's completely unharmed. Then, the mysterious ship moved. It accelerated with sudden terrifying speed, crossing thousands of kilometers in seconds. In one smooth motion, it unleashed a barrage of weapons unlike anything in known space. Blinding arcs of energy shot outward, tearing through the Vor fleet. Entire destroyers disintegrated instantly, their wreckage scattering like dust. The Vor formation shattered. Ships spun out of control, fleeing in every direction. On the Valor's edge, stunned silence reigned. Did it just destroy 20 ships in one strike? Kara breathed. Yes, Elias said softly. And it wasn't even trying. Human fleet channels exploded with chatter. Some pilots cheered wildly, believing the mysterious vessel was there to save them. Others panicked, fearing it was an even greater threat. Elias forced himself to think clearly. Hold position, he ordered. Don't fire on it. Don't even raise our shields unless we have to. We have no idea what it wants. As the Vor retreated to regroup, the unknown ship drifted closer to the human fleet. Its glowing symbols pulsed brighter, almost like they were alive. Sir, it's hailing us. The communications officer suddenly shouted. Put it through, Elias said, his voice tight. A moment later, the bridge filled with a deep, resonant voice. It spoke in perfect English, calm, yet powerful. We have returned. The word sent chills down Elias's spine. Returned? He repeated aloud. Who are you? There was no answer. The transmission ended as abruptly as it had begun. On the view screen, the mysterious ship began to decloak fully, revealing its true shape. It wasn't just massive, it was ancient. Its design didn't match any known style, alien or human. It looked like something built before history itself. Kara swallowed hard. Captain, what do we do? Elias didn't answer immediately. His mind raced. This ship had destroyed a Vor strike force without effort. If it turned on them, there would be no defense, no escape. But it had spoken English. That meant something. We watch, Elias said finally. And we wait. Until we know what it wants, we don't make a single move to provoke it. The humans weren't the only ones watching. Far across the battlefield, aboard the Vor command ship, Supreme Commander Zerath Vol stared at the mysterious vessel in horror. That shape, he hissed. It cannot be. His second-in-command trembled. My lord, the old legend spoke of a world breaker, a weapon left behind by the ancients. Zerath's eyes burned with rage and fear. I thought it was myth. If it is real, we cannot fight it. Not now. Shall we retreat, my lord? No, Zerath snarled. We regroup. We will return with our entire armada. The humans will fall, and that thing will be destroyed. Back on the Valor's edge, Elias watched as the mysterious ship moved slowly toward Earth. Sir, Kara said, her voice low. If that thing decides Earth is a target. I know, Elias replied. For now, the Vor had pulled back. The battle was over, temporarily. But Elias felt no relief. This wasn't victory. It was the beginning of something far larger, something humanity didn't understand. As the unknown ship loomed ever closer, Elias made a silent vow. Whatever this new power was, he would uncover its purpose. He would protect Earth, even if it meant facing a force older and greater than anything the galaxy had ever seen. The glowing symbols on the ship's hull pulsed brighter, as if responding to his determination. Cliffhanger ending of Part 1. The final scene shifts to a dark, distant star system. A shadowy figure watches the battle through a holographic display, its features hidden. So, it murmurs, the Guardians have awakened. The galaxy will burn again. The figure turns away as the stars outside shimmer ominously, hinting at an even greater threat to come. The silence after the battle felt heavy, almost unreal. Human ships floated in scattered groups, their hulls scarred and blackened from the Vor attack. Emergency lights blinked across the wreckage, and rescue shuttles darted between broken vessels, pulling survivors from the cold void of space. On the bridge of the Valor's Edge, Captain Elias Ward stood at the central display table, his eyes fixed on the enormous, mysterious ship now fully revealed. It hung in orbit like a dark titan, its hull covered in glowing runes that pulsed like the slow beat of a massive heart. No one spoke. Every officer on the bridge was holding their breath, waiting to see what the unknown ship would do next. Lieutenant, Kara Voss broke the silence. "Sir," she said carefully, "we still have no information on its origin. The symbols on the hull don't match any known alien language. Even our historical archives don't recognize them." Elias frowned. "And there's been no further transmission since it said, 'We have returned'?" "None," Kara replied. The communications officer shook his head as well. "I've sent every type of hail we have. Open frequencies, encrypted codes, even old Earth languages, nothing." Elias crossed his arms, deep in thought. The Vor had been beaten back for now, but not destroyed. They would return, and next time they would come with overwhelming force. Humanity couldn't afford to fight two enemies at once. "This ship," Elias said slowly, "destroyed 20 Vor warships in seconds. If it wanted to destroy us too, we wouldn't even see it coming." "Maybe it's here to help us," Kara offered. It spoke in perfect English. That has to mean something. "Or it studied us, learned our language," Elias countered. "We don't know its motives, and that makes it dangerous." As if to prove his point, a warning siren blared. "Captain," the sensors officer shouted. "Multiple Vor signatures emerging from warp, heading straight for us." "How many?" Elias demanded. 2 full battle groups, at least 60 ships." The bridge went tense. They had barely survived the first wave, and now reinforcements were coming. "Form defensive lines," Elias ordered. "All ships prepare for contact. We'll hold them off as long as we can." But even as his officers moved to obey, the view screen shifted to show the mysterious ship. Its runes flared brilliantly like burning stars. "Sir," Kara said, awe creeping into her voice, "it's powering up." The first strike, the Vor forces arrived in a flash of distorted light, their jagged ships spreading out into attack formation. They immediately targeted the human fleet, preparing to sweep aside the weakened defenders. But before they could fire a single shot, the mysterious vessel moved. With incredible speed, it surged forward, placing itself directly between Earth and the Vor. Massive panels unfolded along its hull, revealing strange structures that seemed to bend the very fabric of space around them. The Vor hesitated, sensing the danger. "Energy spike detected," the sensors officer shouted. "It's off the charts." A moment later, a blinding pulse of light erupted from the unknown ship. The shockwave rippled through space, passing harmlessly over the human vessels but tearing into the Vor fleet. On the view screen, Elias watched in stunned silence as half the Vor ships disintegrated instantly, their hulls shredded into fragments. Others spun wildly, engines dead, completely disabled. The remaining Vor forces panicked. Their disciplined formation broke apart as they tried to retreat. "Dear God," Kara whispered. "It wiped them out in one shot." Elias didn't respond. He was too busy processing what he was seeing. The unknown ship wasn't just powerful, it was beyond comprehension. "Sir, incoming message," the communications officer said suddenly. "It's not directed at us, it's broadcasting to the entire system." "Put it on speaker," Elias ordered. A deep, resonant voice filled the bridge. "This is the vessel Aegis, Guardian of Terra. The Vor Dominion has violated sacred ground, they will be purged." The Vor immediately opened fire, pouring everything they had into Aegis. Bright red plasma bolts and high-energy beams struck its hull. But just like before, the attacks vanished against its glowing barriers, leaving not even a scratch. Then Aegis struck back. Its weapons didn't fire like human or Vor weapons. Instead, space itself seemed to twist, and beams of pure white energy lanced out, cutting through the Vor ships as though they were made of paper. In less than 5 minutes, the second Vor battle group was gone. The human dilemma. The human fleet didn't fire a single shot during the battle. They simply watched, stunned, as a single ship destroyed an enemy that had nearly wiped them out. When the fighting ended, cheers erupted across the comm channels. "We're saved," a young pilot shouted. "The Vor don't stand a chance against that thing." "Finally, the tide has turned," another voice added. But Elias didn't join the celebration. His instincts screamed caution. "Silence those channels," he ordered sharply. "We don't know its intentions yet." Kara turned to him, her face troubled. "Captain, it called itself Guardian of Terra. Terra is Earth. That must mean it's here to protect us. Or it's here to claim us," Elias said grimly. "We still don't know where it came from. Why now? Why appear only when the Vor attacked?" The communications officer hesitated. "Sir, Aegis is hailing us directly this time." Elias took a deep breath. "Put it through." The deep voice returned, calm and powerful. "United Earth Fleet, you fought bravely against the invaders, but your weapons are insufficient. Withdraw your forces. This system is now under my protection." Elias stiffened. The words sounded like both a promise and a command. "This is Captain Elias Ward of the Valor's Edge," he said carefully. "We thank you for your help, but Earth is our home. We have a right to defend it alongside you." There was a pause. Then Aegis replied, "Your kind is not ready to face what comes next. The Vor are only the beginning. Others will follow. If you stay, you will perish." The transmission ended abruptly, leaving the bridge in stunned silence. "Captain," Kara said quietly, "it doesn't just want to help. It wants to take control." Elias's jaw tightened. "Not while I still command this fleet." The Vors fear far away, aboard the Vor flagship hidden on the edge of the system, Supreme Commander Zerath Vol watched the battle unfold in horror. The destruction of his forces was total. Entire fleets, gone in moments. "That ship," he whispered, his voice trembling with rage and fear. "It is exactly as the old records described, a world breaker." His second-in-command bowed his head. "What are your orders, my lord?" "We retreat," Zerath said through clenched teeth. "We will gather the full might of the Dominion and return in force. The humans are weak, but that thing—" He trailed off, shaking his head. "It must not survive." Approaching the unknown back on the Valor's Edge, Elias paced the bridge. His officers watched him anxiously. "Sir," Kara said, "if Aegis truly wants to protect Earth, maybe we should trust it. With that kind of power on our side. Or it's only pretending to be our ally," Elias interrupted. "If we let it take over, we might just be trading one conqueror for another." He stared at the massive vessel on the screen. "We need answers. I'm taking the Valor's Edge to approach Aegis directly. Open a channel to all ships. Instruct them to hold position. No one fires unless I give the order." As the Valor's Edge moved closer, the glowing runes on Aegis's hull shifted, forming strange patterns. It felt almost alive. "Captain," the sensors officer reported, "I'm detecting something unusual. It's scanning us, but the energy signature is unlike anything I've ever seen." Suddenly, the bridge lights flickered, and a low hum filled the air. "Captain," Kara said urgently, "Aegis is doing something to our systems." Elias gripped the command chair. "Stay calm. Hold steady." The hum stopped, and the main screen changed. Instead of the ship's exterior, a figure appeared. Not a physical being, but a projection of light. It was tall and human-shaped, with features made of glowing energy. Its voice was the same deep tone they had heard before. "I am Aegis," it said, "guardian and sentinel built by those who came before you." Elias stared in shock. Built by who? Your ancestors, Aegis replied. Long before your recorded history, humanity reached the stars. They were mighty, but a great enemy arose. To save Earth, they left behind me. To watch, to wait, to protect when the time came. Kara gasped. Are you saying humans once ruled the stars? Yes, Aegis confirmed, but they fell. And now the cycle begins again. Elias's mind reeled. Why appear now? He asked. Why reveal yourself only when the Vor attacked? Because the Vor's invasion signaled the return of the ancient enemy, Aegis said gravely. They are a shadow of what is coming. If Earth falls, all life in this region of the galaxy will follow. A terrifying choice. The projection vanished, leaving the crew in silence. Captain, Kara said softly, this changes everything. If what it says is true, then Earth is standing at the center of something far bigger than we ever imagined. Elias nodded, his expression hard. Yes, but whether it's telling the truth or not, we can't just hand over our freedom. On the view screen, Aegis began to move again, its glowing runes blazing brighter than ever. Sir, the sensors officer reported, panic in his voice. Vor ships are retreating at full speed. They're fleeing the system completely. Then we just bought ourselves some time, Elias said. But he knew the Vor would be back, and next time they wouldn't come alone. As Aegis drifted closer to Earth, Elias made a silent vow. The bridge fell quiet as everyone stared. The solar system was quiet for the first time in days. The Vor had fled, leaving behind wreckage and silence. Rescue crews worked tirelessly, pulling survivors from shattered stations and damaged ships. Earth's cities still stood, but the cost of survival was heavy. On the bridge of the Valor's Edge, Captain Elias Ward sat in his command chair, staring at the massive vessel known as Aegis. The mysterious ship floated above Earth, its glowing runes shining softly like ancient stars. Elias couldn't stop thinking about what Aegis had said before, disappearing from their systems. Your ancestors built me. The idea seemed impossible. Humanity had only reached space in the last few centuries. Yet, here was a ship far beyond their understanding, speaking of a time before recorded history. Captain, Lieutenant Karavos said gently, breaking his thoughts. The council is ready for you. Elias sighed. Let's get this over with. The Council of Earth, the command center deep beneath the surface of Earth, was filled with tension. Holographic displays showed the ruined orbitals and the debris fields still circling the planet. Leaders from every nation were present, along with generals and admirals from Earth's defense forces. At the center stood a projection of Aegis, itself, the tall, glowing figure that had appeared on the Valor's Edge. This is madness, one council member said angrily. We're trusting a machine that appeared out of nowhere and destroyed an entire Vor fleet in minutes. Another council member raised a hand. Without it, Earth would already be gone. We owe our survival to this Guardian. General Reeves, the grizzled veteran in charge of planetary defenses, slammed his fist on the table. Enough. The Vor will be back, and they'll bring their full might. We need to know what this thing is and whether it's truly on our side. Elias stepped forward. Aegis claims it was built by ancient humans, by our own ancestors. It says humanity once ruled the stars before some great enemy destroyed them. The room erupted in shocked murmurs. That's impossible, a scientist argued. There's no evidence of spacefaring humans before our modern era. Maybe the evidence was buried or destroyed, Elias said. We've been assuming we were the first to reach the stars. Maybe we were wrong. The holographic figure of Aegis raised a hand and the room fell silent. Your captain speaks truth, Aegis said. Its voice was calm but carried immense weight. Long before your current civilization, humanity spread across the galaxy. They built wonders and forged empires, but they also made enemies. When the darkness came, they faced a choice: fight to extinction or hide. Elias's heart pounded. What darkness? He asked. Aegis's runes flickered dimly, like fading memories. The enemy had no name that can be spoken in your language. They devoured worlds and twisted life itself. Even the Vor were once their slaves. Gasps echoed around the room. To save Earth, Aegis continued. Your ancestors left behind only fragments of their power. I was placed here to watch, to protect this world until humanity was ready to rise again. And now you've decided we're ready? Elias asked sharply. No, Aegis replied. You are not ready. But the enemy's shadow has returned, and the Vor are only the beginning. If I do nothing, all will be lost. The proof of the past, many council members were still skeptical. This is a story, Reeves said bluntly. I need proof. In response, Aegis projected a vast hologram into the center of the chamber. Images filled the room, shining cities floating among the stars, fleets of massive ships unlike anything modern humanity had built, and towering figures that looked human but carried strange symbols on their skin. These are your ancestors, Aegis said. The images shifted to show the fall. Armies of shadowy creatures swept across the galaxy, consuming everything. Planets burned, fleets vanished. The final image showed Earth, surrounded by a protective shield, while distant colonies were abandoned. Your ancestors erased all trace of their empire to protect this world, Aegis explained. They scattered fragments of their knowledge, leaving behind me as a last defense. Elias stared at the images, his mind racing. It was too much to take in, but something deep inside him felt it was true. Humanity's rapid technological progress. In recent centuries, perhaps it hadn't been entirely their own. Perhaps they had been rediscovering pieces of what was once theirs. Reeves folded his arms. Even if this is true, why should we trust you? How do we know you won't turn on us once the Vor are gone? The runes on Aegis's form glowed brighter. Because I am bound by my creators to protect Earth. I cannot harm humanity, unless humanity chooses to become the threat. Vor's return. While the council argued, far across space the Vor regrouped. Supreme Commander Zerath Vol stood in the command chamber of a colossal war station. Around him floated dozens of holograms showing the mysterious ship that had destroyed his fleets. That thing should not exist, one Vor admiral hissed. It does exist, Zerath growled, and it has chosen to side with the humans. The Vor had never known fear until now. Legends from their distant past spoke of a weapon left behind by the ancient masters they had once served. It was said to be unstoppable, a ship that could destroy entire empires. We must act quickly, Zerath declared. Before others in the galaxy learn of this guardian, we will strike Earth with every ship we have. If it falls, the humans will scatter like insects. His generals bowed, their voices trembling. It shall be done, Supreme Commander. Preparing for the next battle back on Earth, Aegis floated silently above the planet while the human fleet gathered beneath it. Engineers worked day and night to repair damaged ships while ground forces strengthened defenses. On the Valor's edge, Elias stood with Kara, watching the Guardian through the view screen. Do you believe it? Kara asked quietly. That we once ruled the stars? Elias hesitated. I don't know. But Aegis hasn't lied to us, not yet. Then why do you look so worried? Because if it's telling the truth, Elias said grimly, then our enemies are far bigger than we ever imagined. Just then, the communications officer interrupted. Captain, Aegis requests to speak with you privately. Elias exchanged a glance with Kara. Patch it through. The bridge dimmed as Aegis's projection appeared once more. Captain Ward, it said, you have proven resourceful and brave, but courage alone will not save your people. Then what will? Elias asked. You must awaken what was left behind. A new hologram appeared, showing a hidden location deep beneath the surface of the moon. Your ancestors buried a vault here, Aegis explained. Inside are weapons and knowledge beyond your current understanding. With them, humanity can fight alongside me. Elias's eyes narrowed. Why didn't you reveal this sooner? Because once the vault is opened, Aegis said gravely, the galaxy will know. Others will come, not just the Vor. There are forces that fear what humanity once was, Elias understood the risk, but there was no choice. Without those weapons, they would be helpless. "We'll retrieve whatever's inside," he promised. "Then hurry," Aegis warned. "The Vor are already on the move." The vault awakens. The Valor's Edge led a small task force to the moon. Guided by Aegis, they found a sealed cavern beneath ancient rock. Strange markings covered the walls, similar to the runes on Aegis's hull. As they descended into the darkness, Elias felt a strange sense of familiarity, as if the place was calling to him. "This feels wrong," Kara whispered, "like we shouldn't be here." "Or like we've been here before," Elias murmured. At the heart of the cavern stood a massive door of glowing metal. Aegis's voice echoed through their comms. "Place your hand on the center, Captain. Only a living descendant of the ancients can open it." Elias hesitated, then pressed his palm to the door. The runes flared to life. The ground trembled. With a deep rumble, the door slid open, revealing a chamber filled with strange machines and weapons unlike anything modern humans had seen. "This is incredible," Kara breathed. Before they could explore further, alarms blared. "Captain!" a Marine shouted over the comms. "Vor ships inbound, they found us!" Elias's heart sank. The Vor had moved faster than expected. "All units, prepare for combat," he ordered. "Kara, get as many of these artifacts loaded as you can. We leave nothing behind." The rising storm as the human task force scrambled to secure the vaults. Contents Aegis appeared above the moon, its glowing runes blazing like a star. The Vor fleet arrived moments later, filling space with their jagged, menacing ships. On the Valor's Edge, Elias watched the enemy appear. "They want this vault," he realized. "They know what's inside. And they'll destroy Earth to keep us from using it," Kara said grimly. Aegis's voice filled the comms, steady and unshaken. "Do not fear. Stand beside me and we will drive them back. Just remember," Elias replied, "we fight for our people, not for you." The Vor opened fire. The battle for the moon, and for humanity's future, had begun. The moon's silent gray surface trembled as the battle began above it. Human ships formed tight defensive lines near the vault's entrance, their hulls still scarred from previous battles. Beyond them floated Aegis, the ancient guardian, its glowing runes shining like a star. Across the black void of space, the Vor fleet arrived in overwhelming numbers. Their ships were jagged and menacing, like predators made of metal and fire. On the bridge of the Valor's Edge, Captain Elias, Ward gripped his chair. "They're here," Kara said, her voice tense. Elias's gaze never left the main screen. "Signal all ships. Form up and prepare to engage. We hold the line until Aegis strikes." Aegis's calm, deep voice filled the comms. "Do not fear. The Vor have numbers, but they lack unity. Strike with precision and victory will follow." The Vor strike first. The Vor fleet moved like a storm. Missiles, plasma beams, and energy bursts filled the void, streaking toward the human ships. The first salvo slammed into the defensive line, shaking vessels and scattering debris. "Shields at 70%, the tactical officer shouted. "Return fire," Elias barked. Human cruisers and destroyers unleashed their weapons, lances, of blue and red fire cutting through the darkness. 2 Vor frigates exploded, but their numbers didn't seem to lessen. For every enemy destroyed, more appeared from hyperspace. On the moon's surface, teams of engineers and marines scrambled to secure the artifacts from the ancient vault. Kara oversaw the effort, shouting orders over the noise of heavy equipment. "Move those containers now. Load them onto the shuttles. We don't have time." As she worked, Kara's eyes kept drifting upward, where the battle raged like a storm of light and fire. "Come on, Elias," she whispered. "Hold them off." Aegis enters the fight. Aegis finally moved. The Guardian's hull glowed with blinding light as energy built within it. Then, with a soundless flash, it unleashed a beam of pure white fire. The beam cut through the Vor's front line like paper, slicing 3 battleships in half. The Vor fleet staggered, their formations breaking. On the Valor's Edge, cheers erupted. "Direct hit," the weapons officer shouted. Elias didn't smile. Don't celebrate yet, they'll adapt. Sure enough, the Vor quickly regrouped. Their commanders were ruthless and efficient. A massive dreadnought pushed forward, its hull covered in strange black plating. It fired a sphere of crackling dark energy directly at Aegis. The Guardian raised a shimmering barrier absorbing the blast, but the glow of its runes dimmed slightly. That weapon was forged from ancient designs, Aegis said, its voice calm but edged with warning. The Vor have stolen fragments of my creator's power. Elias realized what that meant. If they have ancient tech, this fight just got harder. The moon's defense line on the moon, Vor ground forces began landing near the vault. Dark, spidery landing craft slammed into the surface, releasing squads of Vor warriors. Their armor gleamed under the harsh sunlight as they advanced with terrifying speed. Contact! Enemy troops incoming! A Marine shouted over comms. Kara grabbed her rifle and took cover behind a rock outcropping. Defend the vault at all costs, she ordered. The humans opened fire, their rifles blazing. Lasers and bullets tore through the thin lunar atmosphere, striking the Vor soldiers. But the Vor were relentless. Even when their front lines fell, the rest pressed forward. Kara ducked as a plasma bolt streaked past her head. We can't hold forever, a Marine yelled. You don't have to, Kara shouted back. Just buy us enough time to get these artifacts off-world. Behind them, massive hovercraft, loaded with ancient machines, lifted off, heading toward waiting shuttles. Every artifact saved meant more hope for Earth, and more anger from the Vor. The Vor commander on the Vor flagship, Supreme Commander Xerath Vol, watched the battle unfold with burning hatred. The Guardian ship was far stronger than he'd expected, but he couldn't show weakness in front of his officers. This fight is not lost, Xerath growled. The humans are fragile. Break their fleet, and the Guardian will fall. He pointed to a cluster of human ships guarding the Valor's edge. Target their command vessel. Without their captain, their defense will crumble. The Vor fleet shifted formation, focusing all firepower on Elias's ship. Alarms screamed across the Valor's edge as the first barrage struck. Elias, Kara's voice came through the comms, urgent and desperate. They're targeting you. I noticed, Elias muttered, gripping the armrests of his chair. All power to forward shields, evasive maneuvers. The ancient machine awakens. Deep inside the vault, something stirred. A massive humanoid machine lay dormant among the relics, its body covered in glowing runes similar to Aegis's. As battle raged above, the machine's eyes suddenly lit up with brilliant blue light. A deep, resonant voice echoed through the chamber. Guardianship protocol active, humanity's return confirmed. Kara froze when she heard the voice through her comm. What was that? Aegis's voice answered, calm but urgent. The Sentinel awakens. It is a weapon of your ancestors, built to fight alongside me. The massive machine slowly rose, shaking dust from its ancient armor. It stood taller than any modern war mech, a silent giant reborn. With a single leap, it burst from the vault and soared into the sky, heading toward the battlefield above. The turning point. The Vor dreadnought fired another sphere of dark energy at Aegis. This time the Guardian couldn't fully block it. The blast struck its hull, sending shockwaves through space. Runes flickered and dimmed. Warning, Aegis said, its voice strained. Systems compromised. Elias's heart pounded. Aegis, hold on. Before the Vor could strike again, a massive shape appeared between them, the awakened Sentinel. The ancient machine raised its arms, glowing shields forming around it. The dark energy attack splashed harmlessly against its barrier. Gasps filled the Valor's edge bridge. What in the name of Earth is that? Kara breathed. Aegis's voice regained strength. That is Sentinel Prime, the last defender built by your ancestors. It has waited for this moment. The Sentinel unleashed a devastating blast of golden energy, tearing through the Vor dreadnought. The massive enemy ship exploded, scattering burning fragments across space. Cheers erupted across the human fleet. For the first time, the Vor were on the defensive. Desperate measures, but Xerath Vol was not defeated yet. The Vor commander activated a hidden device, his claws dancing across the controls. "If we cannot claim the vault," he snarled, "then we will destroy it. And the humans with it." On the moon's surface, Vor explosives detonated deep beneath the ground. The entire vault complex began to collapse, shaking violently. Dust and debris filled the air as human soldiers scrambled to escape. Kara to Elias. Kara shouted over comms, "They're trying to destroy the vault." Elias's mind raced. If the vault was lost, the artifacts and ancient knowledge would be gone forever. "Kara, get everyone out of there," he ordered. "What about the remaining artifacts?" "Forget them. Just survive." Elias's choice as the battle continued. Aegis spoke directly to Elias. "Captain, I detect a Vor command vessel coordinating their ground forces. If it is destroyed, their troops will fall into disarray." Elias glanced at the tactical display. The command vessel was heavily guarded deep within enemy lines. "It's suicide," Kara said over the comms. "Maybe," Elias replied. "But if we don't take it out, they'll wipe out everyone on the moon." He turned to his crew. "Set a course for the command ship. All power to weapons, this ends now." The Valor's Edge surged forward, its engines roaring. Human ships followed, rallying behind their captain. The fall of Zerath Vol. The final clash was brutal. The Valor's Edge weaved through enemy fire, its guns blazing. Aegis and the Sentinel fought beside it, cutting a path straight to the Vor command vessel. On the bridge of his ship, Zerath watched in fury as his forces fell. "No!" he roared. "I will not be defeated by these primitive creatures." But it was too late. Elias's ship fired a full barrage directly into the Vor command vessel's core. The massive ship exploded in a brilliant flash, shockwaves, rippling through the enemy fleet. With their commander gone, the Vor forces faltered. Some ships fled into hyperspace, while others were quickly destroyed by the combined human and ancient forces. Victory and loss. The battle was won, but the cost was high. The vault on the moon lay in ruins, much of its ancient knowledge buried forever. Hundreds of human soldiers had fallen defending it. On the surface, Kara stood among the wreckage, staring at the massive form of the Sentinel as it knelt silently, awaiting new orders. "We won," she said quietly. "But at what price?" Elias joined her, his face weary. "At least we have the artifacts we managed to save," he said. "And now we know we're not alone. Humanity's past is bigger than we ever imagined." Aegis's voice echoed softly. "This battle was only the first step. The Vor were pawns of a far greater enemy. The true darkness is still coming." Elias stared at the stars, determination burning in his eyes. "Then we'll be ready. Humanity won't run. Not this time." Cliffhanger ending of Part 4. Far away in the cold void between galaxies, a colossal shadow moved. Alien voices whispered in unison, "The humans awaken, and so shall we." The Vor had retreated, but their defeat had not gone unnoticed. Far beyond the known stars, in the dark reaches of the galaxy, a new force stirred. Ancient enemies of humanity, long thought vanished, had sensed the awakening of Aegis and the Sentinel. Now, they were moving toward Earth. On the Valor's Edge, Captain Elias Ward stood on the bridge, staring at the stars. "This isn't over," he said quietly. Kara Voss, standing beside him, nodded grimly. "Aegis warned us. The Vor were only the beginning. Something far worse is coming." Elias clenched his fists. "Then we prepare. Humanity will not be destroyed. Not now, not ever." The call to arms across Earth. Alarms blared in cities and military bases. The Council of Earth issued a global command. All available fleets, ground forces, and civilian ships capable of combat were to assemble immediately. Humanity was rising, united for the first time in centuries. Elias and Kara coordinated the fleet from the Valor's Edge. Aegis hovered above Earth, its glowing runes illuminating the planet like a protective sun. "Humanity will face its destiny today," Aegis said, "but courage alone will not save it. You must fight as your ancestors did, with strategy, skill, and unity. On the moon, the Sentinel stood ready, its massive frame a silent warning to any enemy foolish enough to approach. The arrival of the ancient enemy days passed. Scouts reported nothing. Then suddenly, the darkness broke. A shadow moved across the edge of the system. Ships unlike any humans had ever seen emerged from hyperspace, massive black vessels bristling with weapons, surrounded by a strange energy field that distorted the light of stars. Their formation was perfect, disciplined, and terrifying. Elias's heart raced. "Report." "Captain, estimates suggest thousands of ships, all larger than the Vor dreadnoughts we've seen," the tactical officer said. "They're heading straight for Earth." The enemy's presence was overwhelming. Every sensor reading spiked. Communications from fleets across the system were scrambled, jammed by a mysterious energy. Aegis's runes flared with intensity. "They are the Exarchs," the Guardian said. "Once your ancestors fought them across the galaxy. They consume planets. Life is nothing to them. Today, they come for Earth." Kara swallowed hard. "Then all our efforts, all our fleets, are they enough?" Elias's gaze hardened. "We are human. That's more than enough." Battle preparations human fleets gathered at strategic points across the solar system. Stations were armed, orbital weapons activated, and shuttle fleets prepared to evacuate civilians if necessary. Elias addressed his crew over the comms. "Listen to me. This is the fight of our lives. We've faced the Vor. We've faced impossible odds before. Today we fight for every person on Earth. No retreat, no surrender. Humanity rises, and we will not fall." Across the planet, citizens watched the skies. Fear and hope battled in their hearts. For the first time they realized they were not helpless. Humanity had allies, ancient powers reborn. The battle begins. The Exarchs entered the system in a wave of dark energy. Their ships emitted pulses that disrupted human shields and communications. Elias's fleet fired immediately, blasting missiles and energy bolts. But the Exarch ships were fast, far faster than anything humans had seen. Many missiles were destroyed before reaching their targets. Then, with a movement that seemed effortless, Aegis surged forward. Its runes blazed, and a wave of energy radiated outward, creating a protective bubble around Earth. Exarch weapons struck the bubble and dissipated, harmlessly. At the same time, the Sentinel leapt from the moon, crashing into the Exarch fleet like a living mountain. Its massive arms struck ships apart, energy blasts tearing through hulls as if they were paper. The Valor's Edge led human ships in coordinated attacks, striking where the enemy was weakest. Tactics, teamwork, and courage turned the tide. For the first time, the Exarchs hesitated. The heart of the enemy, Elias noticed a massive Exarch ship at the center of the formation, far larger than the rest, a black fortress bristling with unknown weapons. "That must be their command vessel," he said. "If we destroy it, the rest will scatter." He turned to Kara. "We hit that ship. All ships full assault." The human fleet surged forward, missiles and lasers converging on the command vessel. The Sentinel and Aegis followed, cutting through enemy lines. The Exarch ship responded, firing waves of energy that shredded entire sections of the fleet. Human ships fell, explosions lighting up the void. Elias gritted his teeth. "Focus fire on the engines. We cripple it, then we destroy it." Minutes passed like hours. The human fleet suffered heavy losses, but their determination never faltered. For every ship destroyed, 2 more attacked. Humanity was rising, and the Exarchs realized they were not facing prey but a force unlike any other. The turning point, Aegis and the Sentinel coordinated their attacks with human fleets. The Sentinel charged the command vessel directly, its massive fists smashing through shields. Aegis unleashed concentrated energy beams, striking the ship's core. Inside the Exarch command vessel, chaos erupted. Alien officers scrambled as systems failed one by one. The ship's energy field faltered. On the Valor's Edge, Elias gave the final order. "Fire everything. Target the core." Missiles and energy blasts struck the Exarch command vessel simultaneously, The ship shuddered, then exploded in a blinding burst of light, sending shockwaves across the system. The remaining Exarch fleet faltered, disorganized and vulnerable. Human ships pressed the attack. One by one, Exarch vessels were destroyed or fled into hyperspace. Victory and cost. The solar system was silent once more. Thousands of human ships had been destroyed. The moon bore scars from the Sentinels' battle. Earth cities were unharmed, but the fleet had suffered grievous losses. On the Valor's edge, Elias stood with Kara. The crew was weary, but alive. Aegis hovered above Earth, glowing softly, while the Sentinel stood on the moon like a sentinel from legend. Elias took a deep breath. "We won," he said quietly. "But at what cost?" Kara replied. Aegis's voice filled the comms, calm and steady. "The victory was hard-earned but necessary. Humanity has proven itself worthy. Its courage and unity have awakened powers once thought lost." The Sentinel's eyes glowed softly as it returned to the vault beneath the moon. "Sentinel, Prime will remain in standby," Aegis said. "But humanity now knows its strength. It is ready for what comes next." A new era on Earth. People emerged from shelters and stations, looking up at the stars. For the first time, humanity saw the universe not as a threat, but as a place of possibilities. Elias addressed the remaining fleet and Earth's leaders. "We have survived. We have risen. And we have learned that humanity's past is bigger than we imagined. From this day forward, Earth will not just defend itself, it will rise among the stars." Kara smiled, exhausted but proud. "Do you think the others will come back?" she asked. "Maybe," Elias said. "But now we're ready. Humanity won't run, won't hide, and won't surrender. Whatever the galaxy throws at us, we will face it, together." Aegis hovered silently above Earth, its glow fading as if acknowledging the humans' resolve. "Your time has come," the Guardian said. "Use it wisely, protect your people, and remember the lessons of the past." Elias looked at Kara and the crew around him. "For humanity," he said firmly. "For Earth. For the stars. The future awaits far beyond the solar system." Other civilizations watched. Some trembled at humanity's return, others took note, curious and wary. A new power had awakened, a species that refused to be defeated. The galaxy had underestimated Earth for the last time, and in the shadows, ancient forces stirred. They had sensed the awakening of humanity's lost strength. But this time, humanity was ready. Stars shone brightly over a planet that had survived impossible odds. Humanity had faced its greatest enemies, the Vor, the Exarchs, and even the shadows of its own forgotten past, and had risen stronger. The universe had changed, forever, and Earth was no longer just a planet, it was a beacon,